Is this becoming a normal thing for you to be drinking every episode?
Yes.
We need to do something about it.
But
you
it's
can't be drinking all the time, and then we're gonna talk about good habits and shit, and then you're drinking every fucking day.
We shoot this on Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon is the time to be drinking.
The problem is, tomorrow, Monday afternoon, you will be drinking as well.
Tomorrow evening.
You will be drinking.
Yeah, but not the afternoon.
Fuck, we need to make an episode just about your drinking habit. We need to cut it from the head.
Maybe.
We're going to do Sober November with you.
We could do an hour-long episode, and then we have to take a shot every 5 minutes.
Of course, no. I will die within the first 10 minutes.
We get way more views. It'd be great.
Anyways, roll the intro music. How's the good vibe, people? Welcome to the 4th episode of the Good Vibes Theory. My name is Nelson.
My name's Matty.
And we're here to share the good vibes with the world.
Empowering people one episode at a time.
And we're...
I missed one little bit.
Again, motherfucker, 4th episode. You can't learn the fucking intro.
Empowering.
And
inspiring.
Entertaining. Bro, it's so fucking easy, man.
Next time.
I feel like we're gonna hit episode 50 and you're still gonna be missing them.
I'll get a piece of paper and I'll tie it on the wall behind your head.
Just behind, writing it. How are you, Matthew? How was your week?
My week's been pretty good. We've had the rain come in, so that's sort of, it messed up a couple of my shoots and stuff. You too?
Yeah, it did change our plans for sure, because I had a shoot with my boy Guillaume, which got canceled because of weather, and then we were meant to go camping.
Yes, so it fully wrecked our weekend.
Yeah.
Changed what we were doing at the very least.
Yeah, so it's been pretty chill, pretty just working on myself, like reading a lot. I finished another book. For the people that don't know, I introduced reading last year into my life, and then I was like, holy shit, how have I been missing this great habit, an easy way to get information for the most brilliant people on the world, so accessible. It's just a book. You can read it in whatever, 1 week, 2 weeks, and then you have hopefully the most important lessons of the life of people that you respect, admire, or whatever. So I decided to read this year 24 books, so 2 books a month, and I'm on my 22nd book, which is pretty exciting.
Ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
2 months to go.
I think I might be able to read even 1 extra book or something. Let's see how that goes. And I will be making a YouTube video sharing like the 24 most valuable lessons of all those 24 books. But there's something special, man, about, like getting an intimate look of somebody else's life that is, it got to be extraordinary or whatever we get of them right now, but getting the inside information. I read the book of the Nike founder, Phil Knight, and like getting to understand everything he went through to make Nike what it is right now in 2020. It's just insane. And it's like he started pretty much at the same age that I started, like that I figured out, okay, I want to make videos and stuff, and at 23, and it took him, all these years to build the empire of Nike. So it's very interesting, and I highly recommend if you don't read, because I was one of the people that constantly told myself like, I can't be a reader, like I can't sit down and just read a book. I'm too active, and I learn better through visual stuff, through movies, whatever bullshit I told myself, that it got me to believe that I couldn't be able to read a book. So that's how you program yourself into believing things and then limit yourself like in the end, So at some point I just happened to run into a very interesting book, And then because of getting into that, I was like, oh, wait, so I just need to find books that really resonate with myself, And then I slowly started figuring out the subjects that I really like, and the information and value I have been getting in the past year and a half or something since I started reading. It's crazy. I feel like you get ahead of whatever you're doing so quickly if you really put the time and effort into building that reading habit.
And do you find that when you do reading, it's always physical books, or do you do audio books, or do you stick your audio to listening to podcasts?
It definitely has to be a physical book. I love listening podcasts. Like as you know, you're a big podcast listener as well, which is another great avenue of getting information. And especially nowadays that we're so busy with like whenever we have to commute or doing house chores, all these things. So having that option of doing something that doesn't really require that much of brain power and still be learning as well, because even if you're not 100% focused on the podcast you're listening, you're still getting information.
You'll pick up little nuggets.
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the biggest differences between a podcast and a book is a podcast is sort of live, unfiltered. They can't put as much thought into what they're trying to say. So it's good to pick up people's thoughts, but a book is, I guess, a lot more thought out.
Yeah, for sure.
But then, because I don't read much at all, but do you think audiobooks, have you listened to audiobooks?
I haven't, and I'm not really interested in listening to it. I feel like I retain better information when I have it in there, like physically on the book. I can even highlight and stuff. I'm not like those kind of people that they're like, oh no, I can't highlight my book. No, if I find something that I want to highlight, I will just do it, So, and I also find this little satisfaction thing when you get to finish and close the book and watching like the thickness of the book and knowing that all that information is in some way went through my brain. You don't remember everything exactly how it is laid down on the book, but you get the main ideas, and it's like, holy shit, I put all of that in here. It feels powerful.
It all filtered through.
Exactly.
And I guess while you're physically holding a book and looking at it, you can't distract yourself. So headphones in, you can go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So that's probably the most powerful bit about actually reading. I've been what have I been doing? I've been reading the same book for about 2 years.
About like 5 years. The other day, Matty was like, "Yeah, I'm actually reading this book," or blah blah blah, and he starts talking about the book, and I'm like, "Wait, I haven't seen you read it. When do you start this book?" "Oh, like 5 years ago." I'm like, "What the fuck, Matty?"
I bought it. I was catching a plane over to America, and it was dead set at the end of 2017.
Yeah.
And I did this van trip around California, and I read like 75% of the book on the trip.
Yeah.
And then
just let it go.
Now I read like 3 pages every 3 to 6 months. I just need to actually sit down and do it.
How could you do that, man? I'm the kind of person that when I start something, I need to get it done. It fucks with my head if I start something and then I don't get it done. Like my brain is telling me you're being a lazy motherfucker, or I need to know what happened. It's like starting something and not know a movie and not knowing the end. I can't be that kind of person.
Like that stupid TV series I started the other day.
Yeah. Fuck, that fucked me so hard, man, mentally.
I've tried to look up what the ending is. So what I did, it's Making a Murderer, and it said 2 parts. So I'm like, great, 1 part, 2 part. I watched.
Yeah, he bought me into it because he was like, yeah, oh, it's just a 2-part of 1 hour. I'm like, okay,
I don't want to get into a whole thing. Apparently, they were calling their seasons parts, and it's actually got 20 episodes, and they go for an hour each. No. So I'd finished 2 hours, and I needed to commit another 18 hours into something I didn't really want to know.
Yeah, I felt bad after you told me, we need like 18 hours to get it done. I felt bad with myself because I was like, there's no way I'm going to commit 18 hours to that because I realized this was happening like the last episode so much.
Yeah,
like the thing falling down constantly, and it's us constantly trying to get it to the same place.
One day we might get a good background.
Yeah, background, same, still very shitty.
What are some words you'd use to describe it?
It's just too simple. Very simple, very strange, having like the door and then the wall and then a sign that is also completely highlight and
I hate
is
the color.
overexposed.
I hate the color of the wall.
Yeah.
We could paint it. That'd be something.
We need to get the backdrop. When are we doing that? We've been telling people for 3 hours of 3 episodes that we're changing the background. When is that happening, Matthew?
We need to set a goal.
Yeah.
Because without a goal, it's not going to happen.
I know. Yeah.
I don't know. Could we do it we could surely do it by next week.
I will be so excited if we actually get it done by next week. I think we can.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Next week it won't be the final backdrop, but
it'll be better.
Better.
Yeah, we're gonna get a little bit better. That's the point. Yeah.
But we could even run 2 cameras and just like really get it going.
Yeah, that should be exciting as well.
Yeah.
Ideally, you need like 3.
You need 3.
Which is a pain, but yeah.
We do have 3 cameras.
Do we? No. Yeah. We have yours, the red. That's a massive file though, because Matty has a red camera from work.
An hour, that's fine.
How much is that file?
You can turn it down. You can change the bit rate it records at.
Oh.
I think you can put it in ProRes instead of RAW as well.
Yeah, it'll still be like, imagine I already get like 80 gigabytes, I think it is, or 60 gigabytes of this camera. Imagine having that.
That's so many gigabytes.
3. That's way too much. It's too much to handle. That's one of the biggest pains of being like a freelance filmmaker and stuff. Having the space for all the data and files you collect.
And that's where it gets difficult, because we all talk about like backing it up and good storage habits, right? Yeah. You're supposed to have 3 copies of everything. Mm-hmm. It's like, motherfucker, I cannot afford that many hard drives.
I know.
Even if I had the discipline to actually split it out every time I do a shoot, I can't. That's I have about 25 terabyte of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's me being liberal with deleting stuff that I'm not going to need.
Yeah.
So,
you see, I think you have never run into the issue of losing data, right?
I have. I've lost one job, a paid job.
Yeah.
But low paying job, I sort of got out of it pretty easy. But I tend to, when I do accidentally delete stuff, like while I'm inside the project, when the job's not delivered, I'm very, like, I have multiple copies.
Protective, yeah.
And then when you just put it in the archives, like sometimes it's like, oh, I'm shooting an event, but the only hard drive I have is my secondary copy of this event I did 2 years ago. I'm like, that's
wipe
gone.
it out.
That's got to go.
Whoa. Yeah, I had to learn the lesson the hard way, because I had 2 hard drives that broke down on me. One because of me, like my plane fold, I dropped it, and I was like, oh, it should be fine. It was a Lassie also, so they have
the
like
orange one.
Yeah, so
it's
they
still
have the cover, and it fell on a carpet. So I was like, oh, it should be fine, like. Didn't took it too serious. I'm like, these are like the best hard drives out there. I'm sure it'll be fine. And then that night I was traveling around Asia, and that night that I went to connect it, it was all gone, and it really hurt, because I was like halfway in on my trip, and I lost everything I have lived to that point, and some things from before the trip itself.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, no, and then another time, I knew, like, after that, my solution to it was like, okay, I just need to have one hard drive that has everything, but it stays at home. So everything is in there. I remove the hard drive and everything will be fine. Bad idea, because then the next time, that hard drive that was only like 4 months old broke down, and I lost a client work that I was working, like I was about to deliver, and with that, all my stuff from Venezuela, like even my graduation at dentistry, all these things that were so valuable to me, gone.
I think this is we're in a funny time at the moment, especially in Australia, where our internet speed's not that fast. But this is where cloud-based storage, I think, is going to be quite like good. It's not going to be fast enough to edit off or anything like that. But if you can sort of upload it and it's there, you don't need to worry about it, but at least it's there.
It's just it's such a time compromising thing to upload, and then let's say you actually need the file. If we're talking like a full-on project, it will take so long to download.
I think more so like after the fact. So yeah, like I say I go out and do a full day shoot on the Red, I'll be coming home with say 300-400 gig of footage. So even if you got home, hit the upload button, when you woke up the next morning, it still wouldn't be there.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think after the project, I'm like, okay, I have 4 terabytes, right?
Yeah.
Of the film's edited, it's all done, but like I need that to be safe forever because it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Send it to the cloud. And then I'm not going to have 3 files. I'll have like 1 copy of it on a hard drive that I can access all the time. Yeah. And if anything should happen to that, I just get another one, bring it down from the cloud again. I think that's going to become more popular as it gets cheaper because it's still not that cheap.
It's not that cheap, yeah. To have like a great service where you can access easily, because I've seen services where they sort of like copy everything you have, but it's not like you can navigate through the files. It's just like a full-on copy of everything, and if you were you get to a point where you need it, I don't really know how it'll work. I guess it downloads everything, but it's not like you can just specifically download little things. And the birds are fucking singing so hard right now. What's happening there? It's like they're going to war or what?
They're probably trying to kill Django.
Yeah. Wow. They're going crazy. So nowadays what I do is, the way I manage it is, I have a main hard drive, which I forgot. They're redundant, so it's constantly making a copy. The main hard drive where
like
I edit
from RAID style.
Yeah, RAID style. So it's constantly making a copy in case something fails. You have a copy just there, but then when you finish the file, I have like 2 more hard drives, and I make copies in there, so I can erase it on the main one, and I have a double copy of it, which is still so annoying to make the copy every time, because I need to remember, like, okay, I need to put it on those 2 hard drives.
Then you get to the stage when they get full, which is what I have.
So quickly.
So I have, I don't know, I'd have maybe 10 to 15 hard drives, and they have a piece of paper sticky taped to the top,
classic.
and it's got dot points of what's inside that hard drive.
Yeah, same.
Like so many of those hard drives. I got mates that are photographers, and he's got a Pelican case.
Yeah.
Full. He'd have 50, 60 hard drives.
It's like the most painful thing to buy as well, because it's like boring equipment, but that you need, that I'm not willing to go again through losing files, because you never know when you will actually need them. And I have so many also like ideas of films and videos that I want to make in the future, like, oh yeah, I need that file from 2019 where I remember I recorded, all these things about my process and my story, that when I sit down to edit like my full-on story, how I got to whatever place I will get in the future, I want to have access to all those old files. So that's why I'm really trying to keep them safe, but at the same time it's expensive. It's annoying because it takes space. I'm buying like 4 terabytes hard drives, but every time I need to buy one, I need to buy another pair for the backup of that one.
And then that's when you start looking into the bigger options and what becomes cheaper.
Yeah.
So like my one, it's got 4 slots that you plug
Yeah.
like hard drives in, so you're not paying for all the nice casing and stuff. You're just paying for the actual disc essentially, and then you plug it in, copy across, pull it out, get rid of it. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's cheaper.
What's the brand? That's what you have at work.
Yeah, I think it's GeForce. I mean, it was expensive. It was $3,000 something dollars.
So much money. Like that nice enclosure.
Yeah, the actual enclosure is awesome, and it takes 4 slots, and then it does a heap of stuff. It's fast, but it's the same price as a MacBook Pro. Like, if you're a freelancer trying to get the most bang for your buck, it's hard to justify something like that. But it's like, but it's a necessary
evil to have.
Necessary evil.
Yeah.
Because I guess if you keep buying laces, which I was doing, I got so many 2 terabyte laces.
Oh, no, too much money.
And then it's like 200, 200, 200, 200. Sure enough, it's better because I buy the 10 terabyte slot in things. So really, once you do that, I think they're $500, and you only need it twice a year.
Yeah, and in the end, like hard drives, you can't rely on them. Like not a single one. They're so unreliable pieces of gear.
You know what I'm more guilty of than not backing up my hard drive?
What?
Is formatting my memory cards too soon.
Oh yeah, I know that's one of your biggest flops.
I've done that.
Never, absolutely never format your SD cards.
Never?
You never. We went traveling. We've been going traveling for work twice. You never format your SD cards. I did all your backups, I remind you. So
I didn't have my laptop broke before that last trip.
Matthew, you never format your SD cards.
No, I do. That's how I lose footage, because I run out of space because I haven't formatted it for the last 5 shoots. I run out of space, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure.
Well, because you get to that point because you haven't formatted your SD cards. You get to a point where you have to do it, and you're like, yeah, I'm sure I have everything.
I think I
somewhere.
have it. Boom, lost it.
Gone. We were listening before this podcast, the podcast of Joe Rogan with Kanye West.
Mr. Kanye West.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that conversation on him as a human?
Tricky one. Mr. West, I've only listened to the first 50 minutes. I think he's definitely on some sort of spectrum in terms of he is a creative genius. He does think in ways that are abstract. I think he is hugely self-obsessed. He says he's not narcissistic, but I think he is definitely.
He definitely is. He's
and
autistic.
Yeah, he's like on the spectrum of autism in some way, which I guess most genius type people are, but I don't know if he's a genius because he's not saying anything incredibly smart. Like, he's coming up with some complex thoughts, and I think his confidence gets a lot of that across, which is why he's been successful. But I think some of it is like, oh man, if you didn't have the fame and the success to back it up, you'd be like, what is this guy saying? It's a tricky one because I don't know, and he's not giving any good solutions too.
Exactly right. Yeah, he's first of all, he's a Christian. He's the son of God. Like, he was mentioning God so much that I was like, oh, please stop with the religion thing. And then,
well, that's his whole thing.
Yeah. Now he's just can you say that, most Christian person on the planet? I don't know.
Which
is that English grammatically correct? I don't know.
I guess so. It's strange though to see where he's come from, and then he just sort of says, "Oh yeah, God spoke to me," or "God came to me, and I believe He's put me in charge to do this." And it's like, where's the differentiation between that and a schizophrenic going, "Someone's talking to me in my head"?
Exactly.
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's just weird, man. And look, I respect whatever people want to believe, but the more, me personally, the more I educate myself, the more I experience things through life, and the more I open my mind to people from all around the world, the more I don't believe religion is like a true thing, like that there is a God or something. I don't know. It's just
Yeah, definitely not in the forms of like organized sort of what's on paper. Like you can't take a literal belief of the Bible, which he does.
yeah.
He was talking about some pastor who says stuff exactly like, and he loves it unfiltered
Yeah.
by getting the words directly from the Bible.
Yeah.
He said something along those lines, and it's like, dude, this was written 6,000 years ago by people that were not educated to start with, and then it's been translated 10 times, and it's been retold that many times.
Yeah, so
There's a lot
it has
of
gone
filters.
through so many hands. It's like a message. When I tell you, hey Matthew, I discover a treasure in our backyard. Then you tell that to another person, and you add a little thing.
Chinese whispers.
Yeah, exactly, and it ends up being a whole different thing after going through so many people. It's the same with the Bible, right? So I don't know, when I heard him say stuff like, yeah, when I have done my best performances, it was because God was speaking through me. I was just like, this is crazy. How can
bro.
you believe this is okay? I don't know, man. In my head, it's just strange, the religion stuff. Yeah.
If he does go the presidential route, there's never been a president that hasn't said he's religious. Do you think Trump's religious? Fuck
doesn't
no,
believe in
he
that.
is not religious.
Yeah.
He says he is.
It probably does to make some people happy.
No,
yeah.
he has to say
yeah.
he's happy.
Yeah.
If you go to like an institution where there's typically smart people, like a university or like some science thing, the majority of those people aren't religious, especially not in the sense, like they could be spiritual, or they could believe in whatever the origin of what made people write the Bible. There could be something, but they definitely don't believe the earth started 6,000 years ago, or that there was a man turning water into wine. Or there's
I was just thinking about that. I was literally thinking about that. I was like, isn't that insane? That
insane.
We've been told that someone could turn water into wine, and
He
we believe it.
He walked on water.
Yes.
But
He came back to life. All these things, like.
That's just Christianity. Then there's a whole realm of other ones, I think.
Exactly, because there are so many of them. Like, this is the one we know, but...
Well, I think Ricky Gervais says it very well when people ask, how do you not believe in God? And he's like, look, there's 7,000 deities, 7,000 gods. You don't believe in 6,999. Yeah. I don't believe in 7,000.
Exactly.
It's pretty similar.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. It's funny because I was listening to a guru from India and all these things. He's not into religion, and he just put it this way. He's like, I really don't understand how people believe that there is a place that is better than this place. How do you know this is not heaven? And how do you, why do you, one thing that religion has in common in all, the different ones, is that they all promise a better place. And that's what drives people to do stuff, like the guy that goes and kills himself to kill the people, to blow himself up, is because he's been promised that he's going to a much better place. It's like, how can you believe that? What are your proofs that there is a better place than this,
Yeah. I think it comes from like an innate human desire to want to believe, because we have this weird way of rationalizing.
I think more than a desire is a need.
We need
to believe and stuff, yeah.
Because we have a hard time coping with death and loss. And it's way nicer to think, oh my...
Death, loss, and aging.
Aging, it's tough. It's much nicer to think, hey, my granddad's here. in spirit.
Yeah.
My granddad's watching me. It's a fairy tale. Like, it's nice to think that. I get that.
Yeah.
But you can't throw out everything we know about everything for that reason.
Exactly. No, and it's a tricky one, because then another thing that I was thinking is that all these people, that in the eyes of most people are doing the wrong things. When you come to like the source of why they're doing it, most of them is for religion, and they truly believe they're doing something that is right according to their own set of values and beliefs, which is weird, like, I don't get it, man. I feel like it should be like plain and simple, and religion has a lot of good stuff as well when it comes to setting the values and be like, hey, don't kill, don't steal, all these things.
Thank God someone wrote down not to kill, or I was going to go and kill everyone. Don't need to write that shit down. Were you raised in a religious household or religious schools?
So I was in religious schools, and then in my house we're supposed to be Catholic, but it's not really like we don't go to church or whatever. But then I noticed that my family is constantly, like, not just my parents, like my uncles, all these things, is constantly sort of like when something bad happens, that's when they record to religion kind of thing, like there's no other thing or explanation. Let me just go to this safe little place.
It's a strange phenomenon.
It's weird, right? Like, there's few people that they actually take religion, whether they're feeling good, where everything's going great, and when things are going bad. There's a lot of people that they just go to religion when they don't know where else to go, kind of thing.
Yeah, or it's just sort of in their life. Like, both my dad and Beck's dad grew up in the Catholic Church, altar boys, the whole works, and both of them have had nothing to do with it for a long time.
Yeah.
When me and Beck got married, before we got married, we started talking about where we were going to do it.
Yeah.
And when we spoke to Beck's dad, we're like, oh, we're looking at this like hilltop place, this place. And he's like, you're not getting married in a church?
Yeah.
We're like, no. And he's sort of gone, I think you should. And we're like, when did you last go to church? And he stops and thinks about it. And he's like, fair point. Fair point. That was his go-to thought.
Yeah.
Because that's, his
that's
mum
what
goes to church.
he was taught,
People get married in church.
Yeah.
He just probably assumed from when Beck was 5 years old, he envisioned her getting married. He'd walk her down the aisle in a church. That's in his head.
Yeah.
So when it came to the fact, he goes back to that train of thought.
Yeah.
And it actually takes a bit of reflection, who he is as a person now, to go, oh no, that's dumb.
Yeah, no, and it's just fascinating to me, man, that now like I said, that since I'm detached to it, and I don't really, like, I still haven't figured out sort of like what I believe in, right, kind of thing. I'm just like more focused on, I don't really care that much what happens afterlife, because no one has it figured out, and until then, because I'm sure there's a lot of people trying to figure that out, so eventually
there's one way to find out.
Die. Yeah, exactly. So if I don't have this piece of information of what happens when I'm gone, and whatever is in the past is already there, I can't change it. Let me just focus on what I have left, the now, live the now, and focus on doing good, at trying to become the best at whatever I'm trying to pursue, to manifest, to create on this shot that I have at life.
That's it. There's one shot.
Make the best of it, and stop trying to justify, because that's the other thing, like, people feel safe justifying whatever goes bad. Oh, this isn't God's plan. It's like, no, life just works that way. Life is not meant to be perfect. Life is meant to have ups and downs. And I guess if you feel better justifying it because it's God's plans, yeah, go ahead. I don't know. It doesn't work for me personally.
As long as it's not hurting anyone,
yeah,
that's fine. But
that's the most important thing, I believe. Like, as long as your belief on religion or your non-belief on religion doesn't affect other people, it's all good. Do whatever,
That goes for all beliefs. But the thing that's harder to watch with religion is, I'm like, I know this is putting some form of limit on your own life. Like, it's not my place to say that you're doing it wrong, because you do you.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's difficult. When I was in my young 20s, I was like hard atheist. Right? Yeah. I'm like, fuck these idiots. Like, how do they believe in a magic man in the sky? Like, how?
Bro, when you put it like when you lay down this stuff, it's just like, how do people believe this?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was like,
yeah.
I was getting into it. I was watching videos. I was like trying to argue with people. And it's like
you were looking for the confrontation.
Yeah. And then like, as I got a little bit older and people are talking about, there's probably more to this, or it's at least deeper or more complex. I'm like, I'm buying into that a little bit more, and I'm definitely not going to be a dick about I mean, don't get me started if you're a 7-day creationist. Like, it's not good.
Yeah. I just find it fascinating, honestly. The more I look at it from a logical perspective, and the more you talk also to people, like, why do people believe? 9 out of 10 people believe in God because they were taught to believe in God.
Almost no one believes in the God that their parents didn't believe in.
Exactly right.
Which
exactly
is
right.
That alone.
That's virtually none. Yeah.
How does it make sense that I think it's 70% of the United States is Christian, and then whatever percent of India, like, they're split up into different religions. So if you're born there, you believe in this God. If you're born there, you believe in this God. That alone is enough proof to say either they're the same thing and you guys should be friends. Yeah. Like, there's no way this place can be right and this place can be wrong. It just depends where you're born into as which one you believe into.
And which household.
And how gullible you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just very interesting because, like I said, I was born... Maybe we weren't the most, religious pushing family, but I was born into that. And, I did everything you do when I got baptism and all these things.
I did the same thing.
But because your parents think, oh, this is the way to go. There's no other option, like.
My dad did. My mum was brought up with no religion, and my dad was brought up Catholic. So dad's just like, let's do this. And then it was like, I think reconciliation. And they taught us we could go in and talk to the priest dude, tell him what you did wrong. And then he'd make...
It's just so silly.
And then he said, okay, you've been forgiven. And mum's like, he's not just forgiven. If he does something wrong, like, we can't teach him that he just has to say sorry and that's it. All is forgotten.
He needs a smack.
He's like, well... There's no repercussions for it.
Yeah.
So she's like, religion aside, I don't agree with that teaching.
Yeah.
Which, interesting, good on her. And then
for sure.
That's
a good mom right there.
Well, she's like, this whole religion thing's harmless. Yeah, baptism, it's a bit of water on the head. Who cares? And then they start.
I feel like we're pissing off people from religious.
We're in Australia. Like, no one's religious here.
Yeah, in here most people are not really religious.
I haven't met any religious people here that are like dicks about it. Like, in America, you sort of see those crazy videos of, like, really into it people.
Yeah.
I know, like, I got a few friends that are Christian and they go to church every Sunday. And outside of that, they don't talk about it because they know no one else wants to know about it.
Yeah.
They don't push it on you. You don't mention it to them. And then they live a normal life.
Yeah.
They still party. They still do whatever. Pretty much normal. It's weird when you're like, why are you doing that bit?
Yeah, why are you doing that little piece of it? Why?
But it helps out. I reckon we should go to the next topic.
Yeah, religion is a fascinating topic one.
Do you have any topics?
Yeah, so happiness. What do
Happiness.
you believe? What are your beliefs on happiness? Where do you believe? Where do you find happiness? Where does happiness come from? What are your thoughts on that?
I think happiness is something that is something you're chasing constantly. It's not something that you sort of reach and maintain. That doesn't happen because either you get used to it or things change, or I guess it comes from, it's different for everyone. For me, a sense of achievement, but then also being content with that achievement. It lasts for so long. If I achieve something, right, obviously the hit of dopamine, straight happiness, that's your high of happiness. But then being able to look at your situation or whatever you're in and saying I'm content with this is like a deeper internal happiness. So sometimes like I'll wake up and I'll have Beck and Django in the bed and I don't actually have to go and do anything. I just look around, got my house, living on the Gold Coast, cool job, dog, wife, everything.
Venezuelan.
A beautiful Venezuelan living downstairs in my basement. And that's sort of like a internal happiness that I've been working on for a longer time than those short bursts. But both of those kind of happiness don't last forever unless you're sort of working or trying to do something with it.
Interesting view.
What's your view?
I do agree with most of the stuff you say. I've just finished reading, by the way, The Art of Happiness with a Dalai Lama, right? Is a psychiatrist or something, so someone that understands like the human behavior and human mind and all these things.
The Dalai Lama is not a psychiatrist.
No, the guy that wrote the book, kind
gotcha.
of thing. He's a Buddhist and he's like the head of state of Tibet.
The Dalai Lama?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the people that don't have idea who's the Dalai Lama,
You
because
should.
there's many of them as well.
One at a time, though.
Exactly, yeah.
Sort of
one
like
at a time,
the king of the Buddhists.
Exactly right. A great way to put it.
It's like the Pope, really, I guess.
For the Buddhists.
The Pope, but less sex with children.
Exactly.
Yes.
So this is a person that, have pretty much, they live at peace, they live with no material stuff, all these things, so they're very happy humans. And my biggest takeaway is that anyone can create happiness wherever you are at life. It doesn't need to be, if you're waiting for you to achieve the things you want in life to be happy, you're doing it wrong.
For sure. So
Happiness is not a destination.
It's to do with perspective as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was lying in bed and I'm like, I'll be happy when there's a better car out the front, that's not me putting in my perspective to find my own happiness.
Yeah. What I mean is like, you can't wait to be happy because it's not going to happen then. You're going to live in misery, like happiness, to me, it becomes a choice of daily thing. Like you get to choose if you want to be happy or not. Because in the end, it all comes down to your perspective. So if you choose to have a negative perspective on life, like, oh, I don't have, let's say, I live in Australia and all these things, but I haven't achieved the dreams I have. I don't have a nice car. I don't have a girlfriend, all these things. You're choosing to look at the wrong side of the coin, on my view. And obviously, you won't be able to be happy because you're choosing to see all the negative of the stuff you're lacking.
And you're attracting a lot of negativity when you do that.
Which it doesn't also help,
Like,
so
everyone's being mean to me. It's like, yeah, because you suck.
yeah, straight up, you suck. So it's like, to me, every day I wake up, I have a choice, exactly. Fucking broken English. Every day I have a choice to make. I wake up and it's like, is it gonna be a great day or is it gonna be a shitty day? I instantly, of course, constantly do my best to choose happiness, and then program my brain, hack my brain into trick him, even if it's not the best day, even if I know maybe the week is gonna be tough, it's gonna be bad weather, I have a lot of stuff that I don't want to do, whatever. I'm tricking my brain into believing that it's gonna be a great fucking week or great day. And then in that moment, I'm choosing happiness. I'm choosing to be happy, and I'm constantly, giving you compliments, all these things that sort of reinforce that happiness. Because then I tell you, hey Matthew, you look amazing today. Go kick ass. Whatever I tell you in the morning. Same for Beck. That watching your reaction of getting that little Kickstarter of your day makes me even happier. So it's like, oh, I'm boosting my own happiness, and then. So the takeaway of the book is like, doesn't matter where you are, you can cultivate happiness with different little mindset things or hacks like tolerance, patience, being compassion, empathy, hardworking, what were you saying, achieving goals, like setting goals and accomplish and watching progress. Those are things that feed your happiness. So that was like my biggest takeaway with it, that because there are also examples of people that have been born or somehow ended in the worst circumstances you can humanly possibly imagine, and they choose happiness within those. In this book, they were explaining some cases of Tibetan monks that they were captured by Chinese and all this stuff, and they were putting like concentration camps. They were being tortured, incarcerated, all these things, and those guys still chose happiness. So it's a choice. It's a choice, and of course we're humans, so sometimes it'll be difficult. Imagine being a monk, and you're incarcerated, being tortured, and you're choosing compassion for that person that's torturing you. Like, it's not easy, and that's an extreme case, of course. But daily, we have little things that, depending on your perspective, on your life, on your circumstances, can make you unhappy, and it can be just a person that is honking on traffic, desperate, and you choose to, like,
you buy
yell
into
at him
that
and
wrong mindset.
Exactly, yeah. So to me, it's a daily war in my head of fighting against hatred, anger, whatever is positive, opposite to positive traits. So happiness, ultimately, in my perspective, is something that you get to choose every day. You have the power. You have the ultimate power of choosing to be happy, and you can nurture that happiness so you can make it sort of like constant along the way. And some days you will lose the battle. Some days, you will lose a close one, and it won't be easy to choose happiness. You will be sad. You will be disappointed maybe at life. You'll be angry maybe at someone that took his life or whatever. But you have to always have that war, that mental war, that internal war, and trying to come out victorious kind of thing. That's the way I see it. It's like an internal daily battle with the negative traits.
And I think a part of that is being conscious of how you're feeling and addressing it, from taking a step back and saying, I'm sad, or I'm frustrated. But if you're just feeling that emotion, you're not going to deal with it very well. So taking a step back, realizing maybe why, getting some perspective on the whole situation, going like, it's really not worth this.
Yeah.
And then using that knowledge to make the choice to try and be a little bit better. You don't have to be Smiles McGee.
Yeah.
But if you can walk into work and say, what's up, guys? Happy Monday.
Yeah.
Or it's going to come back, and then sort of a snowball effect of
good vibes.
Good vibes.
Which is ultimately what we share about, you know, like the more you're encouraging your happiness, working within yourself to be happy, because that happiness is an inside job. It's something that no one, if you're expecting people to make you happy, that's definitely not sustainable. Same with the destination. It's not sustainable because you're going to have people that are going to break your heart. Like there will be people that will disappoint you. There will be friends that will do things that will hurt you. You know, that's going to happen. That's how life works. And so you need to be prepared for those days, not relying on those people to make you happy. Like, and that's my idea as well of coming to a relationship. Like, whenever I get into that stage of finding someone that I want to get into a relationship or whatever, I'm not expecting that person to be my other half and this crazy bullshit that we have invented on the Western culture, you know, that there is another half to me. No, I'm my own me. I'm a full me. And I want to find another full human with who I can share all this happiness and love and things that I have.
And then when you find her, you become one whole. And then you become half of that, Nelson.
It's just weird, man. That idea that there is a half.
You'll get there. You'll get
your
there.
half thing is out there waiting for you somewhere.
There's not one. There's not one.
Definitely not one, for sure.
You could fall in love and marry thousands of people, right? And it'll probably work out because there's no soulmate type deal.
Yeah. But that's what we're led to believe, that there are soulmates, that there's your other half somewhere out there, that once you find that person, you're going to be super happy. Life is going to be beautiful.
I don't think anyone that's been in a relationship for 10 years thinks that.
Yeah. No, before that, for sure. That's what
maybe.
it's sold with movies, all these things, songs, you know, like that's how we grow up, expecting to find happiness as well with another human. Which is just insane. Like, you need to be happy with yourself. You need to learn about happiness with you. And maybe for you could be different because you found back years ago. You've been almost like growing up married together. You know, at what age did you guys got together?
I was 18. Yeah.
Holy shit, 10 years together.
Yeah, which was interesting because we always went into
You don't get that nowadays, really.
Well, that's it. I think we were pretty, I guess, open about the fact that when we were 18, we weren't going to be the people that we were always going to be. And we actually had that conversation where we're like, look, we're going to grow as two people. And there was tough points along the way. And it was like, we may grow apart. May happen. Like we said that. As we become real people, are we going to work together or not? And I think that's where we got lucky, that we were able to be like, this is actually working. And we're quite independent. It's like, because we're not like the same
you
person.
Guys have their own stuff going on constantly.
So we definitely grew into like two people that sort of managed a relationship from... Like when we were both 18, we're not the same people, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So back then it was just like a couple kids that liked each
fucking
other.
Around. Like rabbits. And that was it.
And then, by the time we hit like 24 maybe, we're like, okay, we're real people now and we're doing our own thing. And especially now, another 3 or 4 years later, once we got married and we like got careers and we're doing our own thing, we're just constantly living these two side-by-side lives and making them work together nicely, but we're not like super reliant. That's a weird way to say it.
Yeah, careful with the words you choose, because you have a wife that will listen to this, sir.
when you're 18 and in love, you think that's the whole thing is you two, right? No, it actually takes becoming your own person. Like you said, not half of one person, but two people coming together in one whole thing that makes sense. And then you're that half of that.
Yeah.
It sort of makes sense.
I get what you're saying, but I still think it more than being like, I'm the half of it, it's like, it's more like this is what we created
Yeah, I mean, I don't call her my other half.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand where the saying comes from.
It's just strange, that idea, and that a lot of people are expecting to find happiness in another person. I have heard so many people tell me in the past couple of years that, yeah, I really want to get into a relationship, I don't feel well right now. It's like, how can you expect to find someone to contribute to their happiness when you're not even happy by yourself? It's just to me, it's just 2 + 2,
Yeah, you should be happy in your own person, or you can definitely find someone that makes you happy and then pursue that. That might work as well.
But then you're relying on that. Like, what happens the day, because that person is never perfect, so what happens that day that person says something that hurts you, and
it depends. Is their actions making you happy, or do them as a person help you find yourself? I think that would happen a lot. I think that would happen a lot, that someone finds a person that makes them be a better self.
But that's a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah, that's being lost and you got lucky and found someone that has more self-awareness, more happiness with themselves. They have a better grasp of reality, life, whatever, and then they help you get a little bit of that.
Yeah, if you're just
which is great. That's fantastic. That, and props to whoever finds that person.
But if you're just reacting to someone in their actions and them being so beautiful, and that's what makes you happy, yeah, that's not going to last.
No, especially because of looks, they fade away. But that's what I mean. Like what you mentioned before, that if you find someone that makes you happy, it's like, no, you need to be happy before expecting someone that makes you happy. What happens if that person realizes, like, I definitely don't want to be with this guy? Then your happiness goes away because of that person faded? No. Like the way I see it is, someone like you have this little seed, right? This is happiness. I'm choosing every day to nurture that little seed with patience, tolerance, empathy, compassion, educating myself, things that will make you feel good, achieving, hobbies, sports, making relationships, connections, all these things. And then you transform that into whatever beautiful flower is meant to be, particularly to you. And then you find another person that, hopefully, that's the ideal, because you will have people that will try to cut your flower, so you better keep those away from your life. But hopefully you will find someone that'll come and be like, hey, that's a beautiful flower. I want to contribute to make that flower even bigger, more, amazing. So, and that person contributes to your happiness, but you're not depending on that person. That's the way I see it. It's like, okay, I'm not relying on that person to take care of my flower. That's my flower. But that person is welcome to come and nurture the flower. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. How much time we got?
We have 1 minute left.
1 minute left.
Yeah. How was that? How do you feel about this episode? We went deep on religion.
Deep, yeah. Sorry, religious people.
Yeah, we already have a group of people that hate us.
Yeah.
Religious people.
That's okay. There's not that many of them, just most of the world.
You're a minority. And then, Matthew, you're not helping. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at a guy called Matty on the Instagram.
Interesting. At Nelf Life on every platform. Make sure to follow the Good Vibes Theory on Instagram. Subscribe if you like this video. And if you want to give the extra mile to really help us to make something out of this podcast, will be awesome if you take the time to leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
5 stars. Thank you. Are we on Apple yet?
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Are we?
Yes, we are, boy.
Ooh, wow.
We're taking over.
Boom. Smack bang on an hour.
We're back. No. Anyways, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Good vibes for everyone.
Good vibe, peoples.
How was that?
It's pretty good.
Good. Fourth episode.
You're lucky. We were about to get into why you haven't found a lady yet.
yeah. We'll definitely save that for like the 15th episode.